Julep, pop, 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 julep, pop, 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 pop,
All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Learn It Live. It's Thursday. That means we're going to get hands-on with Webflow and learn a little bit about client-first, fluid, responsive today. Joe, you got any thoughts as we get started here?
Yeah, I am excited to put more content out about this. We released it. We've been using it internally, and yeah, I'm excited to keep learning together with this tool.
Yeah, it does feel like I'm learning along the way also.
Yeah.
So this is always good for us to stay fresh. As always, feel free to say hi in the comments. We'll shout out everyone who's in the comments with us, so we'll give you all a second to kind of come in and say hi in the comments. We'll always bring those up on the screen. And feel free to leave any questions as we go. Joe and I will kind of be doing color commentary. Harsh Shit is in the background. Let me see if we can do, let's see if I know what I'm doing here. We can go to this shot right here. So we got Harsh Shit in the background here, and we're going to get into his screen. We're going to dive into the entire kind of fluid responsive concept here. So anything else we need to cover before we get started? I don't think we have a disclaimer or anything today, do we?
No disclaimer. This will be a good one.
That's right. Okay. So how do we want to do this? Harshit, do we just want to jump into your screen? Do we want to give a little quick overview of Client First? Actually, why don't we do that real quick, Joe? Do you want to give us just a little brief overview of Client First here? Maybe like just a 1 or 2 minute brief, even maybe faster than that, but just give people a heads up real quick. What is this?
Sure. Client First, one naming convention for every person, every project. And we mean it. This is a Webflow system, a way to build websites that is easy to access for beginners as well as experienced seasoned pros. We use it internally at Finsweet for all of our projects, all the way from building web app UIs to simple marketing pages to complex Webflow projects. And today we're going over the Fluid Responsive add-on. You can build in Client First without Fluid Responsive. Fluid Responsive is an add-on, and you can optionally use it on your web project. And today we're going to be talking about the configurator, how to go and use this fluid responsiveness with just CSS. We're going to be going through a live example. We have a quick 10-second video on there, but it doesn't really explain what's going on. And that's what this type of episode is for, to explain what's going on.
That deep dive.
And there it is. That's the tool.
Yeah, so this is what we're going to jump into today. Some of y'all have seen this. We've talked a little bit about it on some previous streams. But we want to get into the weeds a little bit on how it works and how to set it up. So we've got Harshit, the master online live builder here, speed building participant extraordinaire. So sometimes he gets going a little too fast. So that's what we're here for, is to slow him down and ask the questions from the audience and to really help everyone digest what's going on. So Harshit, what's up? Say hello. And just introduce what you're going to talk about a little bit.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is having a nice day. And we are today going to talk about the Fluid Responsive add-on to the Client First system. It's a really interesting add-on because it can make your website look more beautiful. Okay, so whenever we make our website responsive, a lot of times we feel, okay, it could have been better. My site is looking congested, or the spacing is not perfect when it comes to tablet or smaller screens. So this add-on is going to help on all of those use cases. So I'm personally really excited to share this with you and solve the issues that you might face with responsiveness.
Nice. Okay, so sounds good. Let's say what's up to everyone. Thanks, Harshit, for the quick little overview there. Let's see. Andrew Jennings is in the house. Danny Marco is here. Jesse Neiman, what's up, Jesse? Fernando is here. Oana, what's up, Oana? Melissa Chan. Kayla Williams. Hello, Kayla. I've seen her popping up across the community in a number of different places, so shout out to Kayla. Scott Humphrey, what's up? Good to see you here. We chatted on Twitter, so maybe he's got some questions for us as we go forward here. Waroa, I don't know how you say that, but hello from Algeria. Hello. Greg Dolan, Shane Grady in the house. Good morning. Christopher Coleman is here. What's up? Scott is here. Shout out to all the Webflow developers who are ready to help others share knowledge. Yeah, that's what this is all about.
Nice.
I started to use it for a new project. I'm not sure what he's talking about there. Maybe I missed a comment. Okay, Frank, what's up? Victoria Perez, hey Victoria, how you doing? Frank is saying I'm building my first project with Reloom today. That's the bomb. Great. If you missed it, we did an interview with the Reloom folks last week. So last Thursday we did a deep dive with them to dive into their Reloom library and their process. That's cool to kind of catch up with them. Penny's in the house. What's up, Penny? Albert is here. Harshit, of course. Hello, lovely people. Maggie's in the house. Mirella, what's up? Okay, let's get to it. Let's go screen side here. We've got the style system. Actually, Harshit, is your screen in the mix? Yeah, it is in play here. So we're going to switch from mine to Harshit, which I think I have. Yeah, there. Okay. See, I do the sound effects just from scratch right there, you know. Felix, Maria, ukulele. Okay, what's up, everyone? Sorry, I missed your comments there. Go ahead. I'll bring the other ones up as we go. But go ahead, Harshit, start us off. What are we looking at here?
Harshit,
oh, go ahead. Sorry, Joe.
Before we jump in, can you give a zoom on your screen here just so we can bring this tool up as large as we can? If you
Sure.
zoom in on your monitor. Yeah, maybe. Great. There we go.
This?
Now it's nice. Yeah, sure. A little bit bigger for everybody.
Nice. Awesome. We can start with the introduction of fluid responsiveness. What is fluid responsiveness? That is really important for us to understand. There are a lot of misconceptions and people don't really know what it is. Like, it's not very clear in the market. So I'm just going to give a very brief the definition about fluid responsiveness. So fluid responsiveness itself is coming from a term, fluid typography. And if you Google that term, you will find that what it means is basically changing the font size based on our screen size. So when our screen size changes, the font size, the literal size of the font in pixels is also going to change. And that is fluid responsiveness. And in our case, what we are doing is we are changing the HTML font size. And because we use rems in client first, the whole website scales with it. And that's why we are calling it fluid responsiveness and not fluid typography, but it's coming from a term called fluid typography. So I hope this was clear. Feel free to ask any questions if there is any confusion in this, but this is the basic definition of fluid responsiveness. Now, what our tool does is, Joe, do you want to add anything on that before we move ahead and show the tool?
Go ahead.
Okay, nice. So on your screen, you can see the tool, the configurator that we have built out, and you can make your website fluid responsive using this tool. Now, to make your website responsive, you must know that you are using rems in your system, because we recommend rems, and the whole client first system that we are using is made using rems. And the configurator that we have will only work if you are using rems in your project. So let's just dive into the tool and see what are the things and what are the options we have, what are these fields doing here, what are these dots, and yeah, just let's get started with this. So the graph that you see here is divided into two parts. These the fields that you see on the top is actually the font size, and the fields that you see in the bottoms are our breakpoints. The breakpoints in the Webflow designer, you can say, or the breakpoints of a website basically. You can see here it's 1920. Now on the second option we have 1440. Here we have 479. If you remember these values, these are straight away coming from our Webflow designer. So we generally use 1440 as our default artboard size. And when we go to mobile portrait, let me make this biggest size possible. Here, if you see, it's 479, and we have hit here as well. Now, that doesn't mean you always have to keep these value exactly like the Webflow designer. It's good if you keep it based on Webflow designer, but it's not mandatory. You can add more breakpoints if you want. So with this option here, plus option, I can add more breakpoints. Let's say I want to create exact replica of my Webflow designer. So what I need to do is I need to add one more breakpoint here, and I will just type here 991. And why I type 991 here? Let's go to the tablet view. So I will go to the tablet view and I will stretch the screen. And here you can see the maximum size for the tablet screen is 991. So we are basically defining the breakpoints on this graph. And with this line, you can see that on this particular breakpoint, we want this particular font. So we are defining fonts on specific breakpoints, and that's it. That is the main concept of the whole graph here. So just for example, if I want to read this graph out that you see on my screen, so I will read it in this way. So on 1920, my font is going to be 18 pixels. Now, when I'm saying font, I'm talking about the HTML font, the HTML font of my website.
Font size, not the font itself, the
Yeah,
font size.
yeah, the font size. And why we are changing that? Because our website is connected with the RAMs, are connected to the HTML font size using RAMs. And when we increase or decrease our HTML font size, we are basically scaling the whole website up and down. So at 1920, it's 18 pixels. At 1440, it's 16 pixels. Now you might see that we have two values in a single breakpoint. So you can assume it in a way that the value that is coming after here, as we go down, so this value will always override the value. So just for example, just to give you an example here, if I'm talking about 1920 to 1440, and from 1440 to 991, if I make this value 18, at 1440 this value will be overridden. So the value that is always after the initial value is going to override the first value. So uh, Joe, would you like to clear this thing?
And this is just saying that. So what you're saying, let me just try to interpret here a little bit. So what you're saying is that at the higher breakpoints, you're overriding what you said at the lower breakpoints. So at each breakpoint, when this resets or when it triggers a new breakpoint, whatever you've got set at each of those markers is kind of what takes over at that point, right?
Yes, and I can actually show a visual representation of this. That might be also nice. So if I go to, let's say,
Can
a
I
tablet.
can
Yeah,
I jump in with some more information?
yes,
This
please do.
top line, the 12 pixels to 16 pixels, 14 pixels to 16 pixels, everything along that top, what it is representing is one rem. This is the question that we're answering when we are setting these values on the top. What is one rem equal to? So at 1440, one rem is equal to a computed 16 pixels. And this is why building in rems is beautiful, because everything is based on this, and we are essentially defining what the rem means through these scaling lines, through this breakpoint to this breakpoint, this breakpoint to this breakpoint. So this great introduction. That's everything. Harshit is perfect, really well explained, and adding that concept of one rem, I think, is really powerful.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, it's really important to understand that. Uh, okay, so yeah, Raymmar, I will continue with this topic.
Yeah,
This was
it may
actually
be good to
asked.
point out
Yeah.
just to harp on that REM thing a little bit more, because it is the whole client first system is built around these REMs. That becomes your unit of measurement. That's how you scale. So that's how you start to understand, right? Like this is the kind of the linchpin of the whole client first system is working in REMs. And so understanding that, like, is there anything I would be interested to know from the audience, like questions about REMs, questions about how this is scaling, like any clarity that you're looking for on anything that we've just explained or anything that we have up until this point, right? Before we get into looking any deeper at what the project is or how you implement this or really even how to translate anything further from here, I'd be interested to know if up to this point there's any questions on that, specifically as it relates to REMs. So go ahead and share that, and we'll keep moving forward, but we'll address those comments here in the next good break point. Yeah, so Harshit, you can move forward unless there's any thoughts, Joe or Harshit, about REMs and maybe like tricks of the trade, to help people understand, or anything that you've learned working with Client First that maybe makes this transition easier for somebody who's not used to that.
Well, the simple answer to that is you can easily imagine one rem as 16 pixels. When the browser has its default font settings, which is most browsers, it's 16 pixels for one rem. So using that multiple, you can very easily use a 4-point system. Webflow as a company uses a 4-point system. Client First uses a 4-point system. And this rem concept, the the way that 16 multiplies, the way that 16 works in math really plays well with the rem. So it all works together. I think that transition from pixels to rem, your first site may be a little weird, may not feel too natural. Maybe second site, you're getting used to it. But once you make that switch to rems, I think it's actually much easier. It's almost like an organization technique for me, because you can do 0.5 rems, 1 rem, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5. And this is a lot easier to remember than 96 or 72 or 40. It's just easier. So keep pushing through it. It's a really great system. Once we made the change, everybody was working in rems within the month at Finsweet. It was a very easy switch for us.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just Maria saying here, I just thought that reversing the order of the breakpoints to match Webflow's order, left desktop, higher, right mobile on our graph here is what she's saying. Interesting. Yeah, we'll take that piece of feedback and go back to the team and see. She's saying, I have awful headache. Maybe I'm talking nonsense. Nah, never nonsense, Maria. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. Yeah, we try to do as much as possible there, but sometimes it makes sense, left to right, smaller to big. But yeah, we'll pass that feedback on to the team. Okay, Harshit, what's next on our fluid responsive outline here?
Yeah, sure. So I was explaining about the font sizes on a particular breakpoint. So how it looks. So people might get confused that why we have two values over a single breakpoint, and I will show a visual representation of that. What value will actually go inside Webflow? Okay. So let's take the example of 991 pixel. That is the biggest tablet breakpoint we have in Webflow. So when I say that I want 16 pixel of HTML font size in 991, I will just copy this code. So whenever you change the graph, it will automatically generate a CSS code for us. I will come to that in later part, but for now I will just copy this code and I will just paste this inside an embed like this. So let's open the embed. Make sure to keep the embed on top of your page so that it loads first. Okay, there will not be any jump. So I just kept my embed in the very top. I will open it and I will paste my code in here. Now, if I go to 991, my HTML font size right now here at this point is 16 pixels. When it comes to 14 pixels, you can see that there is a value that is 14 pixel. So this value will be applied to pixel just before 991, that is 992. So if I go to my desktop breakpoint and I scale down my display, so here you can see at 992, my value will be 14 pixels. So this is what we mean when we try to apply two font values in a single breakpoint. So the values after is going to be applied on that particular breakpoint. Is there any better way to explain this, Joe? Or
maybe we can just continue talking about it and continue showing it as we continue implementing.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think it may be nice on a published site, which we can get to.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. That sounds good. Okay. So yeah, let's just walk through the tool. What else we have here? So after this graph, we have this option that says stop scaling at max breakpoint. So right now our max breakpoint here is 1920. And you can see in the graph after this, we have a straight line, what we call constant in terms of graphs. And when I switch on this button right here, you can see that it's straight. But when I switch it off, it will just follow the slope of the last graph here itself. And why it is so? Why we use this option? We use this option to stop scaling our website after that max breakpoint. So I will again show a practical example here. Here I have just applied the code. Let's publish our website. And we will try to zoom out. You can see my website is stopping at some point. And that is what this switch will do. It will not make our website scale infinitely. In some cases, we do not want that. In some cases, we do want that. So we have control over that thing. Now this option will, yeah.
And
Joe.
a good way to think about that is imagine somebody on a very large screen continuing to drag your site out so large on this screen. And then it gets to a point where they have to turn their head to see different content. We don't want that. We want somebody to be able to go full screen, but the content is presented at a maximum width that's comfortable for viewing. So yeah, Felix brings up, okay, that's amazing. And yeah, I think that is the ability to stop it at a certain point and say, don't get any bigger than this.
Nice. The next switch that we have is reset to default, and what this will do, this will reset all the values to default. If you think you have messed up values, you are lost somewhere, just click that option and it will reset to default. Now we are still playing with the default value to find a sweet spot for projects, but the graph depends on the project itself. Different project will have different types of graph. It depends on you how you want it to be. So we will play with the values and we will see if we can find some other values, but for now these are the default values. Then we have the code generator. So every time you make a change to the value, we see the code generated here. You can simply copy the code like this or click the copy to clipboard button. The next option we have is add editable variables. So by clicking this, you can see how the code is working. There we are using CSS variables. You can try to understand it, but you don't have to. Okay, you can just hide this option. I personally don't like to see this. It looks scary. So
Can I ask a question? Like, what would you want to have that CSS if you like the variables? Maybe I want to understand it, but also could I make changes then to that in the browser instead of having to come back and like use the tool? So like once I set that, if I wanted to come in and I could say, hey, I want to just change that here and I don't want to use the graph, I can just change the values in that code and make those manually.
So the values that you see here, the values that you see here are actually coming from the graph directly here. So you can see it's 12 and 16, and you can also see the breakpoint here. So basically these are the values. Oh, where is the graph? Okay, these are the values that is coming there. It's 12, 16. So all the values are editable. If someone is good enough, they are confident, they can edit this value directly inside the Webflow designer.
Nice.
And that is, I think, the whole purpose of.
So this could be. Oh,
go ahead. Uh-oh.
Our shit cut out. Okay. That's
don't worry, we got backups.
That is nice. That's the man, I just lost my train of thought. What were we just talking about?
He was talking about the code being able to be inside the project and being able to make updates manually.
So you may use this configurator and say, well, I want a little edit here, a little edit here, a little edit here. If you are comfortable with that editable code, this is a way to quickly check different breakpoints, quickly check to see how your project may be able to fit with this. Some people may like it, some people may not. There's someone on the Finsweet team that said they wouldn't use the tool unless there was the editable option because they like to test all the options. So we have an editable option.
There you go. It seems like that's how most of the things evolve around here. People are like,
yeah,
what if it did like this? And then somebody's like, oh, you mean like this? And we're like, yep, just like that. And then it just becomes a thing. So let's see. It looks like Harshit is popping back in here. There we go.
Nice.
All right. Let's grab the link again. Boom. Okay. What's up, Harshit? Did you get kicked off your internet there?
I'm back. Yeah, just India things. So I'm just going to manage my screen. Just a second.
So I'd be interested who's building with, client first and fluid responsive. If you're watching this, have you built anything with this yet? Have you used it yet? What are you thinking about this? Like, are you just kind of experimenting with how this works? I'd just be interested to know what y'all are doing with this tool, whether you're doing it now or watching this in the future. Share it in the comments or leave it here. Let's see.
And I would love to get some links in
Yeah.
the live chat.
Right.
At the end of the episode, we may do some QA. We're going to jump into some projects, and we'd love to bring up some fluid responsive projects. That would be great. And the great thing is you can probably apply this to one of your client first projects while we're live and still send it in. That's how quick and easy this is to implement.
Assuming your
So,
REM game is on point.
right,
This is where you'll
assuming you have
find
followed REMs.
this is where you'll discover whether or not you've been kind of understanding these REMs accurately. Is like you'll try to go and add this fluid responsive thing, and then you'll go into the site and you'll start seeing that some things don't respond, some things don't like take that trigger, and then you're like, well, what happened here? And maybe you didn't set the image size. You know, you set the image size in pixel or percentage or something. And I think the percentage is still inherent underneath it, right? If it's set in REMs. So if you do something that's 10 REMs and you set the child thing at 50%, it'll still take that, but it's got to, the parent has to be set at REMs as opposed to like a pixel for it to respond. So maybe if you're not seeing that fluid responsiveness in the site, that's how you go back and troubleshoot. And this is a good way to kind of check that you're building in client first in the proper way. So let's see.
Nice.
Yeah, we get some comments here. So Scott Humphrey saying just started a project with it, looking good. Nice. Andres is saying building my own site with client first responsive. Thank you for converting me to REMs. Yeah, and we're going to do some deep content on this. I think you'll see in the next week or two, we release some serious content about the importance of all this, accessibility with fluid responsiveness, how this compares to other systems, like all the goods you need to know about this. And so, yeah, that's a good point here, converting to REMs, because it's just good moving forward to understand how that works. Let's see. WKD is asking, I was wondering if the big amount of figures in the calc function would be heavy to execute for a weak device. Any thoughts on that? It sounds like an Alex question.
That does not matter. That is not something that you have to worry about. This is highly performant. It's CSS based. This is not JavaScript based. If you have a JavaScript solution, then a weak device or a slow connection could be of issue. But CSS is super lightweight. This is going to load very quickly.
Nice. Maria's saying, I tried it, but pretty sure I used it wrong. Again, this probably has to do with the REMs more than not using this wrong, because this is like the little icing on the cake after the client first stuff. So I think, and we were talking about this right before the show, that maybe we need to do some like ground level, entry level. Let's learn how to set those REMs. Let's learn how to set sizing of elements with REMs, like let's learn and from like the ground up. I think some folks would be appreciative there, because if you're troubleshooting this stuff at the fluid responsive level, like maybe you're just not as good with the client first as you need to be to really get advantage of this. So any thoughts on that, Joe or Harshit?
Yeah, just to make sure you're not using pixels. I see it sometimes that people using client first, they will mostly use REMs, but then you see something and it's in pixels. Maybe it was a copy paste from a different project. Maybe they just didn't think of REMs, forgot the little writing REM afterwards. All these little things that can happen. So yeah, it's something that's very achievable.
I did that actually while I was building, and I thought I did the conversion, but I didn't. I did the math, and then I went in and I just put like 1.25 and just hit enter, and like it just disappeared.
pixel, the slope formula, that is something I am also
Anything
not,
might be back.
aware of how the formula
Check
is working
test.
really.
Oh,
You
we're
know,
Oh,
on
that's
the
what I'm
we
going to
wrong
talk
know
screen
about.
here. Let's go back
how
to
the formula
this.
is working.
Okay.
Not the specifics. I'm
so
not going
we're
to get
back.
into
I
the
don't know.
math, but I'm going to talk about how
Joe
Yeah,
slope
and
reacts with rems and reacts with viewport width.
check 1 2.
yeah. We
Yeah.
can actually see the values changing when we change the
Yeah.
slope.
Go ahead. Y'all keep
Right.
talking.
Yeah,
I'll figure it out.
definitely. Yeah,
Right.
we can show that as well.
Okay. I wonder if we're getting back though. I don't know.
Last stream was something like that as well. Not sure, and my light, it was the
Oh,
electricity here, it was also unexpected. I didn't know that it's going to go like this. I'm not in Raipur right now, Joe, because of
I
COVID. I
think
moved to my home, and
I think we're
it's
live. People are
oh.
saying it's back. Okay. So if we're back, I don't know how we're back right now. I don't know how that's possible.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think
I for some reason
Raymmar
cannot
is also
hear.
here.
Oh, you know what? Here.
Oh, he is. Okay, 31 now
There
watching.
we go. There we
It's
go.
back.
There we go.
Okay.
I forgot I have to turn you back on in here and give y'all the feedback and the everything. Okay. Okay. Now y'all can see.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh man, what's up? We're back, y'all. Fucking internet, goddamn. All right. This is what they call building in public, literally. So funny to see you guys discussing. Nice. Welcome back. Yep, all good. It's back. Okay, everything is good.
Finsweet
How much
stream
did they
is
get?
not.
What did I say?
Everything.
Did I say anything?
I don't know. We're gonna have to.
I don't remember.
You heard it first here. It's like the Joe Biden hot mic moment where he just calls that reporter like a fucking idiot. We're just back here talking shit and we don't realize the thing's live. Woo! Just turning in. Okay, Alex, all good. Let's just. I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah, where
Let's
we
jump
at?
right
Let's.
back.
Anston is saying, so funny to see you guys discussing.
Yeah, right. Let's see. Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
I gotta reconnect the comments. Okay, yeah, you guys take it away. I'll reconnect the comments, and I gotta reconnect a couple things
Cool.
here. Well,
Okay, Harshit, what do you want to touch on next? Do you want to go over how the
Yeah,
values
let's show some
change?
examples. Oh yeah, we can discuss that first, or maybe we can show the example first and then dive into how the values are changing.
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
okay.
let's show the working example first. I will start sharing my screen again.
Oh yeah, I gotta grab your screen. All
There we
right,
go.
everything is fluid. Yeah, Frank, that's it. Even the streams. Waroa, we are here. Welcome back. So funny to see you guys discussing. Yes. Every first half of the year is Raymar's computer crapping out of us. Stop that, Maria. Let's see. Yep. Okay. All right. So, Harshit, I got your screen back here. Let me see if it comes through. Let's see if it plays nice with this. There we. Oh, it tried and didn't. Come on now. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. Whenever you're ready.
Nice. So let's just start with some examples, and I'm going to make my website responsive. This the PlayStation website that we did on the live build, and the discord.com website that we also did on one of the live builds. So let's just make them, let's just apply our tool and configuration to these two websites. I will start with the PlayStation website. Now, there is one more thing that I want to add before I do that. The thing is, you can use other units like percentage here as well. So it's not only about pixels. If you are comfortable with percentage, you can do that. So, and how to understand it basically, you can understand this in terms of scaling. So here, if your website is 100%, at 1920, it will get to 120%. It will to 120%. So this is what percentage mean here. So you can go both of the ways. I'm going to use pixels for now. So okay, let's just make this. So I'm going to present the best configurations for these two particular websites. The configurations can be different for your own website and the website you're working on. It really depends on the website and how you want it to be. So how I'm going to decide the configuration, let's just see it. So this is my website right now. It's not having the fluid responsiveness. Let's see how it's looking on a smaller screen. I am gradually scrolling down, resizing the screen, and let's just go to the very small screen of the desktop. If I scroll down, you can see that it's looking good, but it can be improved. Content seems a bit crammed up. If I go to a grid place, here you can see we have 3 items in a grid. Sometimes we have 4, sometimes we have 2 by 2 grid. You can see the text are stacking over each other. Now, this is where our tool will come in. It can make it look better. Let's go to the fluid responsiveness generator. And here at 1920, and here if I go to the 1920, let's see how it looks there. This is how it's looking like. It's good, but we can scale it a little bit so that when someone is on a 1920 width, it will look, it will not look tiny. It will look just a bit better. So we are just going to make things better. It's not like we are breaking or fixing something. On 1920, I'm going to make this 18 pixels. I'm going to put value of 1 RAM to 18 pixels, and on 1440 I'm going to make it 16 pixels. Now at 991 I'm going to add a breakpoint here that is for my tablet, and it's 991. Let's type here 991, and here I want my font to be 14 pixels. So first of all, let's copy this and let's see how it works, how it will affect our website. I will again create an embed, and I will paste my code inside that. I will keep my embed code in the very top. And now let's see the before and after results. I will delete the embed to see the after results. And here you can see it's the before result, and this is the after results. Our website is scaled a little bit up because we have 18 pixels set on 1920 breakpoint. Let's go to a smaller breakpoint. I'm going to go to 991, 992, basically the smallest desktop. And let's see the before and after results. First, we will see these 2 items. I will delete the HTML embed. Oops, my mouse is, there we go. Okay, so this is the before result, and this is the after results. You can see everything is a little bit better in terms of spacing. Just to show another example, I will scale to that 3-item grid. Okay, here's the 3-item grid. Let's see the before and after here as well. Delete this. There we go. This is how it was, crammed up and little bit congested. Now this is how it is now. We have some good amount of spacing, and it's looking better than before. Joe, would you like to add anything on that?
Yeah, that's a really great way to show it, that the changing of the text is minor. It's not this drastic change of sizes from different breakpoints, but it just helps. It helps the text be bigger where it should be a little bigger, and a little bit smaller where it should be a little bit smaller. So yeah, that was a really nice overview.
Nice. And guys, it's really important to understand that you can control the slope here. So if you want, let's say I want to make this thing even smaller, then I can go to, let's say, 13. I can go do 13 here, and it will get even smaller than that. So you can choose the right sweet spot for your own website. For mine, I think what we have here at 991 is a good value. So I will switch it back to 14 pixels. Now let's jump to tablets and see what we can do there. Uh, okay, so inside my configurator, I can see from 991 to 479. That is basically covering the tablet and landscape. This is the range that we have. I am going to make this, let's see what we can do. I'm going to make this 12. And here I'm going to keep it 16. I'm not going to make this 14 because we have 9 and 1 right here. So there is a jump in the breakpoint itself. We are switched to not tablet breakpoint. And on the biggest screen side of tablet, I think 16 pixel is a good value to keep. So let's just go to 991.
You just lost your screen, Harshit.
Oh, you lost my screen.
We were just getting to the good part.
Just put some background music while one comes in. I gotta get some like holding music. I don't think I have. I don't think I have like. Oh, we have this one. We just need to get that. Play that on loop every time we screw up. Okay, let's see.
Should I? Is the sharing not working? Should I jump in? Maybe I can try to screen share.
Oh,
It's coming.
I just shared my screen.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I was in tablet. Let's see. I will try to figure out the best way, the best configuration for my tablet here live. So I think, let's say, I assume that my website is looking a bit bigger. So what I will simply do is reduce this size. I will reduce this to 14. Let's do that. Again, I will copy the code and paste it inside the embed. Let's just hide this embed because whenever I click on it, it's kind of jumping back and forth. Now let's see the before and after results. So my site just got a little bit smaller. Let's delete this and see before and after results. So this is the before result and this is the after results.
Is there a way to get it without the jump there? So we can just kind of like go back and forth between.
I'm not sure. I think there will be a jump because the sizes are changing itself. The heights are also
the
getting
whole page,
changed.
the heights.
That is why there is a jump.
Right.
Yeah.
Harshit, can you please drag the screen? Let's not go back and forth. Just add the embed back and just show it dragging and getting larger and smaller.
Like this?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Definitely. And in my graph, here you can see the smallest values is 12. That is on 479. So that means when I go to mobile landscape, this is also getting covered on that particular range. I am not creating a different breakpoint for my landscape because I think I don't need that. But if I want to, I can go ahead and create another breakpoint. Now, from here, you can see that my website will look actually better than before, much spacious, and things just got improved a little bit. As we said, we are not making huge difference here. We are just improving the spaces and the whole layout of our website.
Hey,
Yeah.
I wanted to bring this question up. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
No, bring that one up first.
Yeah, I wanted to bring this up because you were talking about the embed there, and this is a good point to bring up. Why put the embed on the page like this, which was Joe's answer. So Andre is asking, the HTML embed is just to add the fluid responsive CSS, right? But technically it get added elsewhere. Yes, and Joe adds, yes, it can be added. Do you want to explain why?
Yes, it can be added to page settings. It can be added to site settings, but we do not recommend that because then you cannot see those updates inside Designer. This is going to make a very difficult development process. You'd have to check everything on the published site. So adding it to the embed is going to allow us to see that in action inside Designer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can create, or you can simply add this code inside your global styles as well, because ultimately you will have to add this to all of the pages. So there are a few ways to do that. You can create a global wrapper where you can keep your global styles and the CSS that we have, or you can simply keep the CSS inside your global styles and make sure that it's on the top.
Yeah, and this is again, some people have asked about that global styles element in the client first clonable. This is what that is. That global styles is a symbol where some of these CSS properties that we kind of find useful time and time again, we bake them into the client first cake. And so these are there to be used. They're things that we find useful, but you could also get rid of this if you wanted to. But as Harshit's saying, if you're going to use something like this, a fluid responsive add-on on every page, and you want to be able to see that stuff inside the designer, this is a good way to do that. Maybe the only way. I don't know if there's let's see. Alex is saying, also you should add it at the top of the page, not at the bottom, to avoid layout reflows when the CSS is parsed. Yeah, we described that earlier when we wanted to make sure we bring that embed at the top. So Alex is just reminding that you want to put that at the top. So it's the first thing the page reads it first before reading the regular CSS, and then it reads that and then readjusts everything, and that's where you'll see a little glitch or a snap or when the page loads, you'll see some kind of like readjustment like that. And so to make sure that doesn't happen, you want to make sure that embed's always at the top of the page. Rahul, we're not going to answer this question right now. I just wanted to address it. Previous Next Page Nation, we're not going to, but if you wanted to see an episode on that, you can go to finsweet.com/vote, and we're happy to dive into some of that. Felix, I'll rephrase my question in case it got lost over the crash. How does this play with the already responsive client first font classes, Joe?
Yes, this is what I was wanting to answer. So Felix asked earlier before the crash, we have a 1.5 rem on desktop and then a 1 rem on tablet. So client first, the project comes responsive, where on different breakpoints, the font size is going to change. This is fluid responsive. So this is an add-on to an already responsive system. Everything about client first is responsive. We take all the breakpoints into consideration. This now adds a viewport with component, and we can actually show what that means in the tool. So adding the viewport with is the fluid part of it. And when we adjust these slopes, what we are essentially adjusting is the amount of viewport width that is added to that size. So let's take one example here. Harshit, why don't you do a drag down on one of these values? Yeah, zoom in
Let's
here.
just zoom it a little bit, and we will try to show you the change in the values as we change the slope.
And you can see as we drag down one of these values, the rem and viewport width values update. And you can see as the slope gets bigger, as we have a more dramatic slope, that viewport width value goes up. So this is really adding viewport width to your rem system. And these slopes decide the intensity of that viewport width. And you'll see when Harshit goes down a little too much, we have a red item that comes up. And this says, hey, this is exceeding the recommended value for a scaling size. And what this means is you may have an accessibility problem because there is too big of a viewport width influence on your sizing. And when there's too much viewport width, that means we can't adjust the font size or the anything size with browser zoom and with browser font size settings. So we want just a little bit of viewport width in our site, but we don't want a lot. And when we have that big giant slope, when we try to make something linear, this is too big of a slope. It breaks accessibility, and there's just too much viewport width in there. We want to stay more rem based. So we give you that little alert. Felix, does that answer your question? The difference here that we're the fluid is viewport width. Without this, we are just purely in rems.
Nice. There was a little follow-up there, wondering if we should use one or the other, how the two are playing. It's more for refinement inside of each breakpoint. Makes sense. Yeah, this will still respect your CSS edits at each breakpoint, right? Like if you have, if you're in the designer and I set a font override size at that breakpoint and then I override it here, how does that respond? I guess maybe that's a good way to think about this or to clarify that. Is there, because this will respect your changes in the Webflow designer, I imagine, right? And then scale down from there. Would this ever override that? Would it ever create conflicts? Maybe that's a better way of kind of looking at this and giving clarity to the folks.
They work together. I think these tools, the idea of building in rem and this tool can be used together in many different ways. You can make adjustments to just this tool. You can make adjustments to your project based on one configuration in the tool. You can make updates to both. It really depends on your site. How much text do you have? How big is the text? That Sony PlayStation 5 example had a lot of paragraph text and just a lot of content, written content on it. So when I see written content, when I see smaller text, that says to me, I may want to add some fluid into this. But if I have a different site, maybe there's not a lot of text, maybe I don't want that font to scale. It all depends on the project.
Definitely.
Nice. All right.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I was going to say, any other questions from the audience here? And then Harshit, did we get through everything we were supposed to talk about today? Or we still have elements on our list here?
We can show one more example here.
Yeah.
I would like to show this one as well.
I would like you to add it to this one,
Uh-huh.
publish it, and then let's see a resizing. If we can do a resizing on the publish page.
What might be cool is go open up a published page now and without the embed on it, so that we have a version of it without that, and then don't reload that page, and then save it and publish, and then reload the page with the fluid, and we can go back and scale one without it and scale one with it, and kind of get a feel for both of them in a live setting with and without that embed active.
Let's do that. Okay. So,
and we could do it on that other site if you want. I think the other site maybe gives if it's not too difficult to do that.
Okay. So no, I will just publish it again, and I will not make any changes to the previous one.
Oh yeah, I just meant the other example site. I think the visuals on the other example site might be better to kind of represent what's happening here.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, because it's got text up top and everything, yeah.
Yeah, let's do that then. So I will take embed, copy the code. So right now the configuration that you see is, I think, the best configuration for these two particular websites. I'm just going to copy this and put it inside.
And is this published and opened in a browser without this already? So maybe before you do that.
Oh, too late.
Oh,
yeah, publish it with, right, and
it.
have both instances in a separate browser.
Okay. I can share you the link. Do you want me to share the link here?
No, you can just zoom in and out there.
Okay, sure. Okay, so this version is having the responsiveness. Now we'll remove the embed and let's see this version.
And let me get,
there we go.
Let me clear all of this too.
Let's not, Harshit, let's not inspect here. Let's.
Yeah, just go to the full screen.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You mean deciding the whole
switch back between the tabs first? Let's just see the initial difference here. This is with and this is without.
Yeah, this is without the thing and this is with the thing. There is not a difference because of where I am right now. It's something between 1440 and 1920. That is why you can't see a big difference.
But that's okay. That's I think one of the points of this stream, that we don't need this dramatically large increase of text between the different the with or without. This is just making it a little bit bigger for those larger screens.
In order to see the difference, we will have to do this. So I will jump here. So here you can see a difference. See, now the text are more. We have some good amount of white space here. The text are wrapping up nicely. But when I go to the site without the code, you can see it's not bad, but things just got a little bit better. There are a lot of sites where our headings wrap up continuously over each other and create some bad design, and this can definitely fix it.
Like the one piece of text on the last line, right?
Yes,
how frustrating is it when you have a perfect 3 lines for your paragraph text, and right at that last little bit, it overflows one word, that call, or having to call. And there are a lot of people that just don't like that. So just with this script, we can remove those type of workflows.
Definitely. And the PlayStation website was a good example of that. When I show the example of this grid, it was wrapping up these headings, but now they are not getting wrapped up. So let's say for this example, here we have play together on PS5. If I make my text even smaller, now this will not wrap up. Or I can make adjustment to my heading as well. I can try to find a sweet spot here, what works best for me. I will switch back. There we go.
Nice. Fidesz, I think is how you say that maybe. Do you have any experience or hint yet at how Google SEO reacts to fluid responsiveness versus ordinary one? Yeah, I'm not sure there would be any significant impact there, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I do not think that this would be an impact. I do think that Google is probably now scanning for accessibility issues. They're probably scanning for font size issues. But if you're using this tool correctly, you should not have a problem with that. We built this tool
Yes.
so that you will never have a problem with that. And when there is a chance to have a problem, you get that alert. We tell you, hey, this may not be accessible. But Google is not going to rate you any different if the site is fluid responsive or not fluid responsive.
Right.
It just needs to be usable.
Yeah, a lot of other things matter more than this in this realm, right? Like, are your images optimized? Is your site structured properly? Have you used all the little HTML tags and all the other little all the other things that matter? Are what will affect the SEO here. If you're doing all those things right, this should not impact any of that, any of your rankings. There should be no negative consequences.
And that is why we pack everything in client first. We follow the practices for the correct HTML structure, so it's actually compatible and accessible. So when you follow the client first, you can have a peace of mind that your website is accessible and good.
Nice.
And Alex brings up a great point in the comments. It can actually be beneficial if your website looks better as user retention can increment, which is a big factor in SEO.
Yes.
I think this is so important and nobody ever talks about it. How much people are engaged with your content. It's not about how many people go there. It's about how are people using the site? Are they staying on the site? Are they reading the content? Google understands this stuff. They just understand everything about how people are using your website. So I think we do a really good job at this at Finsweet because our SEO is through the roof. People stay on our site. They stay on our content. So if you're building a better experience with this fluid tool, imagine as people enjoying your website more and they're staying longer.
Yeah.
So great point, Alex. I think that's more important than so many things.
Yeah, and if you want more on that, go check out the episode we did probably a few months back on SEO in Webflow. And we talk a lot about we talk a lot about this, that like the technical stuff is stuff that you sure need to be doing and making sure it checks the boxes at every level. But the story and the engagement and getting that click through to the next page, right? That bounce rate, getting that bounce rate down. If people have a long engagement time on your page and also click through to another page, those are all more important signals to Google than, a font size adjustment in a piece of JavaScript, Okay. Any other questions, thoughts from the crowd? Otherwise, I think we may be, what else you got for us, Harshit? Am I skipping over anything here?
No, I think we are good. We can answer if there is any question coming up from the community. Or Joe, if you want to cover anything else,
Yeah,
we can do that.
comments are quiet today, y'all. Y'all are sleeping out there.
Yeah. I think that's it. Yeah, I think this was a good overview.
It's because we scared them
And we scared them off with the crash. We're going to be releasing a lot more content around this. We're now using it a lot more
Yes.
internally. We're writing a lot of content about this, and I know we're going to do more videos. So we released it. We heard a lot of feedback. We have a lot more information than we did when we released it, and now we're going to continue making content about this. So keep watching on Thursdays. Look out for some big pieces coming your way because we're all about this system. We want you to feel comfortable and really powerful using this fluid responsive tool.
Yeah. Yeah, and let us know if there's something specific about it. We've been talking about doing short little nuggets. Actually, just before this, we were talking about some short little nuggets. We do a lot of these long form live streams, which are great if you're hanging out and you're diving deep and you're getting into it. But if you just need like a little something and it's buried in the middle of an hour with some kind of technical hurdle in the middle of that, maybe it's hard to get to. And so if there's a little thing that you think we could help with or a little piece of knowledge, like go over to finsweet.com/vote and share those thoughts with us from a content standpoint. We're always looking for new ways to kind of package this learning stuff. Some people learn different ways. Some people learn with deep technical dives. Some people learn with visuals. Some people learn with written documentation. And so, just feel free to let us know what we can do to help you understand this stuff better. So. see. We can maybe take some comments if they're coming in here. Andrew Jennings saying still here, just implementing fluid responsive on a project. Nice.
Nice.
I pronounced it properly. Now I don't remember how I pronounced it, but Fides, I think I said it. I probably ruined it the next time. But thanks for hanging with us. Felix here, all clear. Great. Thanks for answering the questions. Thanks for another great episode. Thanks, Ukulele. James, awesome stream. Andres, thanks everyone. Yeah, I love that we still get awesome streams even though we crash in the middle of it. So thanks for hanging with us and sticking through all that.
Fluid build works based on viewport height. No, viewport width.
Yeah, and and the viewport width is in the JavaScript, not in like it's not set in Webflow. These are not Webflow values.
No, there is no JavaScript
In the fluid responsive stuff?
There is no JavaScript.
It's all CSS and the CSS calculations. I'm sorry.
CSS.
Yeah, CSS calculations. Sorry.
Yeah, CSS variables and calculations with that.
Yeah, sorry, I misspoke there. Felix means, let's see, one thing I might want to see is how Harshit is using percentage or VW in the tool instead of pixels. Is that happening?
I would love to explain that. Yeah. Sure.
Okay, great, Joe.
Everything in that tool is eventually converted to pixels. Everything in your project is eventually converted to pixels or computed to pixels. So we have a lot of values that you can choose from in the tool, but they don't have any influence on the project, on the configuration. And you'll see if you change it from pixels to percentage to rem and you change all the different values, the CSS doesn't update. It's just a visual tool. You can use it as a different way to look at something. For example, you can look at it in pixels, which is very natural to browsers. This is what everything is eventually computed to. Or you can look at it in percentage, which is really valuable. We saw that it was at 100% and it moved to 125%. We'll probably do more content on this later, but if we're talking about browser font size settings, this type of percentage view can be much more valuable than a pixel view. So it's just purely visual. It's just another way to look at it. And we defaulted to pixels because that is eventually what everything converts to. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question, Felix. Harshit, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, percentage are actually really powerful. If you find pixels confusing, you can simply assume that your website is 100% and you want to make it scaled at 80%. Just do that. Just go ahead and make it 80%. And you if you see the CSS generated down there, you will not see any difference there. So it's as Joe said, it's just a visual representation. It's basically your website is scaling up and down based on the percentages. So definitely, I will suggest to everyone that try out the tool, and if you already have a client first website, go and try to apply it there. You will see a difference there. You can make your old websites a little bit better as well if you want. I will just say, just try out this tool and share the feedbacks with us if you want to add some more features to it. If you have any feedbacks regarding the current tool, just share with all of this with us, and we are really excited to learn more about this from you.
Yeah. James coming in here with the heat. This is the question everyone's asking. Yes. We will address this shortly. This is some of the content we're talking about where we're doing real deep comparisons on this stuff. So we will have dedicated content kind of to answer this question. We don't want to piecemeal it here in a hurry at the end of a stream. So it is a good question. It's the question of the day. We do obviously think the fluid responsive is better in lots of ways, and we'll kind of outline why we think those things over the next couple weeks here. So stay tuned for that. Any other thoughts there, Joe? Or,
awesome.
Yeah.
No, great stream. This was really educational. Just talking about this stuff, I feel like I know it a little bit better.
Yeah.
I knew it before the stream, but now I know it just a little bit better explaining it. So
yeah,
this is, really great content. Once you start to truly understand how this works, it's almost like you unlock sizing in browsers. I know 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I didn't know anything about this stuff. And I'm just learning it because we're building these tools together. So really focus on this. It really unlocks a special part of how websites work.
Nice. Okay, well, thanks everyone for hanging with us for another stream. We'll be back Tuesday. I don't know what the topic's going to be. I think we had an interesting tweet the other day about Webflow being easy. So we'll see if our comparison content is ready. We might run with that stuff, or we might talk a little bit about whether or not Webflow is easy to use. So stay tuned. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and tons of other content on the channel if you're interested in checking that stuff out. Again, like and subscribe to the channel. That helps us reach more folks, and we'll catch you next time. Bye. Okay, we're